Hello YouTube. Okay, so just straight off the bat, that is for every time I need to say the word hell in this video. I don't care if it's not in the cuss word sort of sense. It's still a word, so I'm gonna put it in there. But now there is something else I want to address. I'm not a religious person. Not at all, actually. Some of my family members are, but not me in particular. I've read a bit of the Bible, but just out of curiosity. And, yeah, if you guys were just thinking that this show was just about, like, a guy named Lucifer, no, it's about the devil. So, that's pretty much just something I want to address. So now let's actually talk about this show. Now, I think the best place to start is with the story. So pretty much this whole entire thing starts off with the devil who just up and decides to leave hell. Because he can just do that. Yeah, all this time he was stuck there, he could just said, you know, I just want to leave. Hey, random demon, I chose a person to be very loyal to me. Come on, let's both leave. Because reasons. Yeah, they do explain this slightly by saying that he doesn't like the job anymore, and okay, that kind of makes sense. I mean, he is surrounded by people constantly being tortured. Yeah, it's constantly dead people and in an eternal cycle that never stops for anyone. But yeah, that's still kind of random. Just like out of the blue, he just decides, hey, you know, I just want to leave hell. I mean, like, how? How is he up and decide this? They never even show him leaving hell, so it's not like we even established that it's like an escape or something. No, he just leaves. Like, did he have to escape hell, or did he just have to, like, you know, walk out? I mean, he's the one in charge of everything down there. I mean, I'm really wondering how this works. But anyway, he's out of hell now. Yeah, told you. I was really gonna need that one coin. And yeah, since he's out, now what's he gonna do? He'll start a bar slash bordello in LA. The obvious idea. Yeah, this is just kind of a random thing if you ask me. Like, out of nowhere, he leaves hell and then just decides, hey, you know, I want to start a chain business here. Yeah, and they do say it's a chain business because they say they have different establishments of this. So apparently this is a chain run business. But yeah, he's only been here for 5 whole years, and no one caught on to the fact that he was the devil. How do you miss that? But he is not alone in getting out of hell. His loyal demon accomplice, um, Mace, has accompanied him out. And, yeah, she shows how loyal she is by not really going to any fights with him and only sort of just staying at the bar and being a bartender. I mean, okay, she does get out and fight sometimes, but mainly she just sort of hangs out at this bar. I don't know why. Like, does she really not want to get involved in all these fights and everything? No, just staying at the bar, pouring drinks all day. I guess that's what she likes to do. But someone is shot outside of Lucifer's club, which starts a little bit of sympathy in him because he made a deal with this girl. Okay, but she's shot, and now he goes on to try and get revenge for her death, even though we see later on in that episode that he can just bring people back to life. He just doesn't, for some reason. It's kind of a dumb move on his behalf, but either way, he goes out looking for revenge, where he bumps into Chloe, the detective who always has the exact same facial expression. Yeah, her eyebrows are so freaking fake. I don't know why they wanted that. Like, but every single time I see her, she's just like stuck on this one single emotion. She has like two emotion functions. One of them is stern face or smiling. That's it. That's really her whole entire range of emotions. Like, even when she's sad, even when she sees Lucifer get shot, oh yeah, sorry, Lucifer gets shot, what does she do? Oh no, you were shot, oh my god, I'm so upset. But pretty much, she's not falling for any of the tricks that Lucifer has, which increases his curiosity in her, because she's somehow able to resist all of his powers, and he has no idea why. And frankly, this is kind of the most interesting thing on the show. In fact, their whole entire relationship is actually kind of interesting. Because you think at one moment, like, okay, is she like a reincarnated angel or something? Well, no, he checks her back, and she doesn't have any scars. So, no, she's not one of those. So, we don't really know what her sort of role is. All we know is that whenever Lucifer's around her, he's surprisingly vulnerable, even being able to actually bleed. And this is only when he's around her. When he's around anyone else, he's still invulnerable. But when around her, he starts bleeding. It's a very interesting reaction, and they haven't explained this yet. But pretty much, yeah, they solve the killer's case. What you do? Big shock. Um, and Lucifer joins the police department as a consultant. Okay, I guess he can just do that. Like, yeah, actually, that's pretty much what he does. He just does that. Like, he just has sex with the person in charge, and then boom, he's got a job. I don't know, he somehow does that. So, now he's a part of the police department, and he pretty much goes out and solves crimes alongside Chloe and Detective Dan. Yeah, there's a detective named Dan on this show. Me and my dad just come up with a lot of nicknames for these characters. Detective Dan, Constable Chloe. Yeah, we just came up with these nicknames because we just wanted to give them nicknames. And yeah, apparently Chloe and Detective Dan have an old relationship. They also had a kid, which looks nothing like either one of the parents, so we even see the grandparent. Doesn't look anything like the kid. Did they adopt? I don't know. They don't explain this. It's just the kid looks nothing like the parents, but they gave her an incredible name. Trixie. Who would name their kid Trixie? I'm sorry. That's the name of the toy dinosaur in Toy Story 3. Who named their kid Trixie? Like, this is just something that me and my dad joke about a lot, but really, who named their kid Trixie? Like, okay, it's a nice name, I guess, but seriously? Trixie? Okay, but, they named her Trixie, and shockingly, she doesn't have a big part in the story, but she's kind of funny. I'll give her that. She goes to the bar at one point, which was kind of funny. She doesn't drink anything, but me and my dad constantly made jokes about how whenever she's not on screen or whenever they asked her where she is, then we would just sort of say, oh yeah, she went back to the bar, by the way. Yeah, if you guys couldn't tell, I watched this show with my dad. Um, kind of a funny story in that. It was when season 10 of the X Files was coming out. So did this show, and I had set to record right after the X Files. And my dad took notice of that, and he said, well, okay, why don't we just sit down out here and watch it together? So we sat down and we watched it together. My dad surprisingly laughed more than me. And, well, ever since then, we sort of just been watching the show together. Um, and it's been pretty fun. It definitely is much more funny watching it with my dad. So that kind of gives me a more personal relationship to the show. But pretty much, yeah, Lucifer is now a cop, because of course he is. I mean, why wouldn't he want to be? And the only thing really in his way is an angel, whose name I forgot. I'm just gonna call him Bill, because I forgot his name. Or maybe Alex, because Angel and Alex, they both start with an A. Okay, I'm gonna just call him Alex, because I forgot the guy's name. So, yeah, Alex sort of stands in his way there, because he's been sent from God directly to get Lucifer back in hell. And, okay, so God sends down an angel to do this, but why can't he just take care of it himself? Seems like a pretty important issue, and yet you just send some random angel to take care of it. Doesn't it kind of seem like you would kinda need him to go back down there? Like, maybe you want to just push him back somehow, and maybe lock up hell for a while? Just saying. Doesn't really seem like that good of a solution. Even when the whole entire mortality becomes an issue, then, well, it doesn't really go anywhere, because Alex just sort of says, well, hey, I mean, I can kill you and send you back down to hell. Well, he's the devil. He can get out. Did you forget about that little detail? Oh, yeah, I guess he is the devil and he can get out. How did I forget about this? So, yeah, how do I feel about this show? It's, it's okay, I suppose. I definitely have a mixed feeling about it, because the first few episodes, those ones are the strongest ones. They're actually pretty funny at times, which, yeah, most of the jokes on the show don't really go anywhere, but the ones that do are freaking hilarious. Um, but the first few episodes are where it's mainly funny. But, like, at about the third episode, that's where it sort of drops the humor, and just becomes kind of boring, to be honest. Yeah, I know, it's weird. I'm saying that a show called Lucifer about the devil becoming a cop in LA is boring. Isn't that a weird situation? But this is sort of the situation I've been left with. I mean, the show is okay for what it does. It does raise up some interesting questions, but along the lines of actually being compelling, it's not really. So let's actually talk about a few of the characters. So, yeah, let's talk about the most important one, Trixie. She's in the show and existence. That is her character. And yeah, like I said before, she just has some funny lines, like her mom was apparently, in a rather adult sounding movie, and then one day she just sits down and talks to her kid about it and the whole entire issue, and her kid, and Trixie just says, yeah, I know, I already saw it. There's this thing called the internet. I used it. Yeah, it kind of sounds like Constable Chloe needs to put some parental guidance on her computer there, but yeah, pretty much that was kind of a funny line. And that's pretty much the lines that she does get. There are some funny lines, but no, she's an alright character. I don't really mind seeing her. I mean, she's okay for what she does in it. And yeah, she does serve her purpose at the end of the season, so yeah, I guess I'm fine with what she does. So after her, we actually do have an important character, Lucifer, and it's gonna sound weird, but I actually think that he's probably the most enjoyable part of the show. He can bring out some pretty funny lines at times. He's the one who brings out most of the funny lines in the first two episodes. And even in, like, episode 4, I think he has a really funny line about revenge. But pretty much, I do like the way this actor played it. I think it's more the actor's portrayal of the character that does sort of push him forward. And there are some ideas about him that are pretty interesting, but unfortunately they don't go all the way with it. And they just sort of have these ideas and that's it. They just have the ideas. They don't actually follow through with them. It's just sort of, hey, this is something that we could do. Nah, let's just make it a minor issue for the week. So, that is a very big issue in it. I mean, I actually do think that some of their issues that they bring up can be very interesting ideas, but they don't really focus on them that much, and that's probably one of the biggest issues of the show. But then after him, yeah, for him, he's a pretty enjoyable character for the most part, but there are some things about him I don't like. Like, he don't really seem to take anything really that seriously. So, unless if it's like a big issue, like at the end of the season, he does take someone escaping hell very seriously. Not gonna tell you who it is unless you haven't, because you might not have seen that episode yet. So, yeah, I'm gonna keep that hidden for you guys. Um, then we have Constable Chloe. She's kind of boring. Yeah, every time I'm supposed to care about her, I pretty much feel like Willy Wonka whenever someone was in that movie where she's like, oh no, don't stop, come back. Yeah, I pretty much just feel like that whenever I'm supposed to care about her. It's like, oh no, you almost, oh no, something boring happened in your past. Ooh, yeah, interesting. Can we get back to something interesting? So yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about her, but again, she does have kind of an interesting relationship with Lucifer, and that's sort of what makes her intriguing. Like, you don't really know what exactly she is, or why she's actually able to resist Lucifer's abilities, or why she even weakens him. It's just sort of something that she can do. And yeah, the whole entire issue surrounding it is actually pretty interesting. But outside of that, she's not really that cool of a character to follow, and you don't really care about her that much. But then we have Detective Dan. Man, it is so easy to make fun of this guy. I mean it. This guy is just so simple to make fun of. Like, he's not really all that great of a character, but man, is that nickname that they use in one episode fun to overuse. Um, so yeah, even Lucifer has his own nickname for him, Detective Douche. What an amazingly thought out nickname there. Probably took him a whole 10 seconds to think of that one. But, yeah, I guess for Detective Dan, he's alright. Or at least with someone with that nickname, he does fine. There are some things about him that should be interesting, but really they aren't. Like, they make at one point they're just like, oh yeah, he ended up shooting this guy because of reasons, and yeah, and this is what happened, and this and that. I'm just like, I don't care. I really just did not care about that. That had something to do with Chloe's past and everything that I brought up earlier, and oh my god, that is the most boring part of the show, is that they constantly talk about this. I'm just like, I don't care. Get on to something important. Well, at least at the end of this season, they actually solved the mystery for her, so hopefully next season we will not get this. And yes, next season, this series has been greenlighted for a season 2. Um, and then sort of the other important character is Mace, who I do think is actually a pretty cool character. Like, she is a very good fighter. She actually does have a pretty cool demeanor to her. She's probably the second most enjoyable character outside of Lucifer. And yeah, I do actually just sort of enjoy what they do with her. She is pretty cool. At the end of the season, though, she did sort of end up feeling kind of betrayed by Lucifer, so I don't know how that's going to turn out for the next season. Because pretty much one of the enjoyable things about her is how loyal she was to Lucifer. No matter what, she would always be sticking beside him. But here, but here at the end of the season, she's just like, you know what, no, I've had enough. You guys do whatever you want, I'm just gonna go. And then she continues to work at his bar. She really got very far there. So, after that we have Alex. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep on calling him that because I forgot his name. And he's probably the third most interesting character on the show. It is kind of cool. It is kind of interesting to see, like, an angel do sort of darker things than what would be expected. I don't know, he sort of feels like Castiel on Supernatural. Except with a little bit more except for a little bit more charisma put into him, which kind of makes him worse than Castiel, but yeah, I do still find it kind of interesting how they do this with this character, but he's not really in most of the episodes. He becomes more important about halfway through the season, but after that, I mean, before that, he was just sort of there for a bit, and that's all. But pretty much, how do I feel about this show overall? Oh wait, no, there is one more important character. There's a psychiatrist. She's on the show. That's all we need to know. Okay, nothing important about her, because really, she's not that important. Even the final episode sort of skips over her. Just like, she talks about how she feels about Lucifer constantly dodging the issues, and then they're just like, oh hey, yeah, let's dodge the issue and go talk about this. Then they just leave. Well, that worked out wonderfully. I'm so glad they gave her a point in that final episode. It's really important. But, yeah, overall, she's kind of funny at times, so I'll give her that. Although how she misses the fact that Lucifer's the devil, I don't know. He super punched a hole through a wall, but, you know, nothing important about that, I guess. Seriously, how do you miss that? Really, what? How do you miss hole punching through your wall? Really? I mean, later in the next episode, she says, well, I have thin walls. I'm like, was that the reason you weren't concerned about the fact that he punched a hole through your wall and you had to fix it? That probably cost a lot of money, and he doesn't even pay you. It's just kind of rude. Really? Are you not gonna bring this up, ever? No? Okay, I guess it wasn't an important issue then. So yeah, she kind of misses the fact that Lucifer's the devil a bit too much, but, so, how do I feel about the characters on the show? They were better in the pilot episode, which is by far the best out of all the episodes. That one is actually pretty funny. So now let's get on to a bit of nitpicking. One thing that has annoyed me ever since the show started is that in episode 1, Lucifer says that he doesn't really care that much for modern day music and is more a fan of the classics. I completely agree with that opinion. If you were to see my music playlist, then you would know. Seriously, I have mostly 80s and 50s songs on there. I have a few of them that are modern, but mostly 80s. And then what did he say? Then what happens in the next episode? And every episode after that? His bar plays nothing but modern music. You just said you like classic music. What happened to that? Like, oh yeah, I like classic music, except for when I don't. Really, it's not like there aren't any other people who like classic music. There are a lot. I don't see why you only need modern day music on the show now. Seriously, what? Closest thing that we get to classic sounding music is whenever Lucifer plays the piano. And it's probably just because he's playing the piano. So, yeah, this is a little thing that's very much annoyed me. Then outside that, it's pretty much alright. I mean, like I said before, there are some things that hit, and there are a lot of things that miss. Like, for every 2 things that hit, 4 things will go to the side and miss. So, and that's probably my major issue with it, is that it's kind of a pick your poison type of show. Like, if you enjoy some of this sort of stuff with it, and it does make a lot of references to the Bible and stuff, so if you're with that, then I guess you can have fun with this, maybe, or maybe not. But I do think that some of the ideas are kind of interesting, but it doesn't really go all the way with them, and it just sort of drops it. Like, we had some sort of interesting stuff with the mortality deal, but then they just say, nope, only Chloe can do this whenever Lucifer's around her, so there goes that. Now we don't know on what range he has to be close to her. Like, in the season finale, he's shot down by this annoying character who, frankly, I didn't care anything about. And whom I didn't care so much about that I'm not gonna talk about him. But he's shot down by this guy, and since Chloe's in the building, he starts dying. But she's quite a bit away from him. Does it only work whenever she's in the building? This still really confuses me. But, hey, you know what? If they're not gonna explain it, I'm just gonna keep on asking about it. So, yeah, for the show itself, I think it's alright. Um, Maybe you can get an idea about what the show is like, and, you know, sort of check it out for yourself. I mean, there are some interesting things in it, but if you guys do watch the pilot episode and say, hey, this is kind of enjoyable, yeah, don't get all that used to it. It does change its tone really fast, and that's probably the biggest concern I have with it, but I mean, I don't know. There are some kind of funny things throughout the series that are sort of hidden at random. So, it's sort of like an Easter egg hunt, the show. So we're like trying to find something that you'll enjoy in it, and if you find that, then good for you. I might be watching season 2, maybe not, I don't know. Season 1 was kind of boring, but then again, I also started this show. Yeah, I have a thing about starting shows and finishing them. All except for you, Supergirl, I hate you. Saw 1 episode of you and I hate you. But, yeah, pretty much that's it. Yeah, I got nothing else to really add to this except Lucifer next season, you better play some freaking classic rock. Or some classic blues like you brought up. Seriously, I want to see someone play that in your stupid little bar. Well, that's pretty much it. Bye.